The movie kicks off on a basketball court, right as the game starts with the whistle. The Wolves are struggling at first, but they rally back in the last second. On the coach's call, Dean passes the ball to Mason, and Mason nails the winning shot. But as he throws it, he spots a creepy, dark shadow in the crowd. It's a monster, not a person. Freaked out, Mason bolts to the locker room, grabs an old box, and smashes it. He doesn't really know what it is, but breaking it makes him feel a bit better. When the team shows up, everything seems normal, and they start celebrating their win. Later, while Mason's in the shower, black smoke starts pouring out of the drain. It shapes into that same scary monster he saw on the court, but this time, it's glowing like hot coal. First, it grabs Mason and chokes him. Then, it shoves its burning fist into his mouth, setting him on fire. The monster gets out of the bathroom. His friends watch but can't do anything. Mason burns to death. Next, we meet a new girl named Chris. She just transferred to the school. When she gets there, she notices all the kids staring at her weirdly. She's assigned Mason's old locker. When she opens it, she finds the same old antique piece Mason had broken. Then Mason's friends show up and start picking on her. They say, "You can't use this locker. It belonged to our friend." They tease her, but then a girl named Ellie steps in to help. The bullies get mad and start messing with Chris even more. Chris gets really mad and hits one of the boys. A teacher walking by sees it happen. Chris ends up with detention on her very first day. But Ellie backs her up and tells the teacher what really happened. Because of that, all the bullies get detention instead, and Chris is off the hook. Even so, Chris doesn't thank Ellie. Instead, she says, "I didn't need your help." Poor Ellie walks away feeling down. Now, Chris is standing there alone. She pulls the antique box out of her locker. When she opens it, she gets scared. Inside, she finds a small skull. As she touches it, she realizes it's not a real skull. It's actually a whistle shaped like a skull. As she looks closer at the whistle, she hears weird, creepy sounds coming from it, but she just ignores them. She thinks about keeping it, but then the school bell rings. She puts it away and heads to class with the antique in her bag. When she sets her bag down, the piece falls out. Another girl complains, "Sir, look at what she brought to class." Chris politely hands the antique to the teacher and explains she found it in her locker. The teacher looks really surprised by it. He starts looking at it closely, and all the students gather around. They use a magnifying glass and find words written on it. It says a weird phrase. One girl looks it up online and explains that it means calling death. The teacher tells everyone that it belongs to the school and he'll keep it. After that, the students leave. When the teacher checks the antique's price on his laptop, he's shocked to see it's worth thousands of dollars. The students have all left the school, but a boy named Ray realizes he left his book in the classroom. As he goes back to grab it, we see the teacher, alone in the room. He's looking at the whistle, wanting to see if it actually works. The moment he blows it, the loud sound breaks the window glass. The teacher doesn't realize the whistle caused it. He thinks something broke outside. When he goes out to check, Ray walks in. While picking up his book, Ray notices the whistle. When he goes over to the table to check it out, he also sees the laptop screen. He's amazed at how much the tiny whistle is worth. It's worth thousands of dollars. Ray leaves the classroom, and outside, we see a boy talking to Chris. He acts all friendly, but is secretly trying to sell her drugs. This pisses Ray off, and he tries to hit the guy. But the boy, named Nova, pulls out a knife to stop him. When Chris asks Ray about Nova, Ray says adults think Nova's a good kid, but really he sells drugs. He pretends to teach religion, but he's actually dealing to the kids. Stay away from him, Ray says. Meanwhile, the teacher goes back to class, opens the box, but the whistle's missing. Turns out, Ray stole it, and he's showing it off at a party that night. Poor teacher spends the whole day searching the school for the whistle, all the way until night. By then, only one person's left cleaning, the teacher. He hears weird noises down the halls. When he goes to check, he sees a creepy monster limping toward him. Just as he's trying to figure out if it's human, the janitor calls him from behind. When the teacher looks back, the monster's gone. Trying to ignore it, the teacher heads back into the classroom. Suddenly, the monster's right there in front of him. Before he can even think or run, the monster tears open his chest. It shoves its hands inside and grabs his lungs. Black liquid starts pouring out of his mouth, and he's killed brutally. Meanwhile, we see the kids at the party. A girl named Grace gets a weird idea. She was the one who looked up the whistle online and told everyone about it. She says, "I know this whistle calls to death. Why don't we blow it too?" Chris is usually brave, but this freaks her out, and she suggests leaving. Ellie stops her, and Grace blows the whistle loud. Everyone hears it, but Chris hears creepy footsteps instead of the whistle, and she's terrified. When she tells the others, they laugh at her, and Chris leaves. Later at home, Chris is doing chores when she suddenly spots a creepy figure in the tree outside. Just then, her sister walks in with coffee. Chris asks, "Do you see anyone in the tree?" But when she looks again, the figure's gone. Cut to Grace at her house. While doing homework, she feels like someone's watching her. She tries to brush it off, thinking it's just her little brother. Still, she feels scared. Just as she decides to head to her room, someone touches her face from behind. She's freaking out and looks back. It's her brother, but he's way too short to reach her face, and he's standing pretty far away. To keep calm, she tries to convince herself her brother's just messing around. But as she goes inside, we see the creepy monster right behind her. The next morning, the friends get to school and hear the shocking news that their teacher died. They all gather in the hall to pray for him. He was totally fine just yesterday. Suddenly, Ellie spots a girl sitting across from her, acting really weird. Her head is twisted all the way back. Ellie shuts her eyes in fear. When she goes to tell Chris, she realizes it was just her imagination. Later, they talk about all the scary stuff happening to them. Chris saw a monster at night, and now Ellie had a vision. Ray puts the pieces together and says, "Hey, maybe this whistle belongs to Mason, the kid who died. We should take it back to his house. Maybe all this bad stuff is happening because we took something from someone who's passed away." Hoping to make things right, Chris and Ellie head over to Mason's place, only to find the door wide open. Out of nowhere, Mason's mom shows up in a really weird way. She takes them inside to a room packed with old stuff, like antiques everywhere. Chris tries to give the whistle back to her, but she won't take it. She says, "It was never mine." Then she drops a dark, creepy truth about the whistle. Nobody can buy it. The whistle chooses its owners. First Mason, and now it's chosen you, Chris. Chris says, "I didn't blow it. One of my friends did. She thought it would wake the dead because it says calling death on it." Mason's mom sets the record straight. It doesn't mean summoning dead spirits. It means calling your own death. This sounds really weird to the girls. The mom explains that everyone has a set time to die. But if someone hears the whistle, their death comes early. Even worse, the person's body quickly ages to match the exact age they were supposed to die naturally. So, if someone was meant to die at 80, they'll instantly turn 80 after hearing it. They'll age and die right away. Ellie starts thinking the woman's crazy, but Chris remembers Mason and the teacher's deaths. The police still don't know how they died. Chris goes to the hospital to look for clues and sneaks into the records room. She flips through a bunch of files until she finally finds Mason's folder. Inside is his autopsy report. It clearly says his body looked like that of a 40-year-old man. So, what Mason's mom said was true. Mason was supposed to live until 40, but his body aged super fast, and he died at that physical age. Chris is totally freaked out now. She knows she and all her friends heard the whistle, and that everyone's in serious danger. Chris and Ellie run over to where their friends are hanging out. A bad guy tries to block her. Chris punches him, pissed off because she knows he's the one selling drugs to the students. She pushes past him to find her friends, but she can't see Grace anywhere. Grace is wandering through a dark maze. It's like a creepy funhouse, so everything feels spooky. But then, something really bad starts chasing her. She spots a monster that won't stop following her. Grace tries to run, but the monster keeps getting closer. She decides to stop running and fight back. She swings a fake weapon at the monster, but instead of hurting it, she gets knocked down. She gets back up and runs again, but the path ahead is blocked. She tries to crawl through a small tunnel, but the monster grabs her leg. Still, she doesn't give up. She kicks hard, breaks free, and gets out of the tunnel. Finally, Grace reaches the finish line, but just before she can cross, this creepy old woman drops down from above. She grabs Grace and drains the life right out of her. In no time, Grace ages into an old lady. She dies right there at the finish line. When her friend Dean finds her, he's horrified. Looking closely at her face, he can't even tell it's Grace anymore. She's gone. Then he meets Ellie and Chris. The girls try to explain that they're all cursed because they heard the whistle. They warn him that death is coming for them, and their bodies will age fast. Dean doesn't buy it. He thinks he's too young to die. To calm down, he uses drugs and heads home. Meanwhile, Ray's sitting alone on the roof when blood suddenly starts pouring down on him. But then he realizes it's just his imagination. This makes the group realize Ellie and Chris were telling the truth. The next day, Chris goes back to see Mason's mom. She's really sick, close to dying. She tells Chris that death can't be stopped, but it can be passed on. In other words, the curse can be passed to someone else. You can sacrifice another person. Suddenly, Chris sees a terrifying vision of her own death in the mirror. It scares her to death. When the vision ends, she sees Mason's mom has died in her bed. The scene cuts to Dean. He still won't believe the curse is real. When he turns on the TV, he hears the news about Grace's death. He's heartbroken and starts wondering if Chris and Ellie were telling the truth. Just then, his door opens a crack. A scary monster's hand reaches through. Dean freaks out. He tries to slam the door shut on the monster's hand, making blood spray everywhere. Then he pushes heavy furniture against the door to block it. But this thing isn't human. The monster suddenly appears right behind him. The ghost reaches out and pushes its hand straight through Dean's body. Hearing his screams, his parents rush in. They're horrified to see Dean collapse and die. Meanwhile, Ray decides to dump the curse on someone else to save himself. He figures the drug dealer Nova deserves to die. Ray tails Nova to pass the curse onto him. He finds Nova alone and attacks him. But Nova's tough. He fights back, grabs Ray's gun, and shoots him. But Ray knew the curse meant a regular bullet wouldn't kill him, so he lets Nova shoot him. Ray grabs Nova and tries to smear his blood on him to pass the curse. Just then, Chris and Ellie show up. They try to stop Ray, but he won't listen. Just as he's about to pass on the curse, his time runs out. Suddenly, his arm twists, and this invisible monster crushes his body brutally, like he got run over by a heavy machine or a train. Now, only Chris and Ellie are left. They come up with a plan to cheat death. Ellie has an insulin kit, and Chris tells her to inject herself to stop her heart. Then, Ellie has to drown herself and bring herself back to life right after. Chris says, "If my heart stops, maybe the curse will end. Then I can save you the same way." They get ready to try their crazy plan. After the injection, Chris sees the death monster, but she's not scared. Ellie holds Chris underwater. When Chris stops moving, Ellie pulls her out of the tub and tries to wake her up. Ellie does CPR and uses a defibrillator, but nothing's working. In Chris's mind, we see her fighting the monster. The monster keeps dragging her into dark water, but Chris swims up toward the light, where she hears Ellie's voice. Chris thinks back to the good times with Ellie, fighting tooth and nail like their lives depended on it. Then she pulls him down. Meanwhile, Nova, the bad guy, wakes up furious and starts hunting the girls to kill them, not realizing Ray is already dead. Nova smashes down the door and finds Ellie and Chris. He cuts the power, which shuts off the machine Ellie's using to save Chris. Right then, Ellie senses her own death coming, but she doesn't stop. She keeps pushing hard on Chris's chest, fearless. Finally, Chris sees the light. She swims toward the light, and back in the real world, Chris wakes up, gasping for air. The plan worked. But then she sees Ellie collapse to the floor. The curse. It's killing Ellie now, and she's bleeding out. Just before Ellie dies, Nova walks in. He steps in her blood and touches it. Because of that, Ellie's curse instantly transfers to Nova. Ellie stops dying, and now Nova sees the monster coming to kill him. Terrified, Nova shoots at the monster, but it's a ghost. The bullets don't do anything. The monster attacks Nova and kills him brutally. Thanks to that, both Chris and Ellie survive. The movie jumps ahead a few months. Chris and Ellie are totally safe now and have become best friends. Chris still gets scary visions sometimes, but she just ignores them. She knows she beat the curse and will live a long life. She doesn't let fear control her anymore. But in the last scene, a new girl shows up at the school. She gets the same locker Chris had. When she opens it, she finds the cursed skull whistle. She takes it and heads to the morning assembly. When Chris and Ellie see the whistle in her hand, they scream to warn her, but they're too far away. The girl can't hear them and blows the whistle right into the microphone. Now, the whole school hears it and gets the curse. Ellie and Chris just barely got away, but now it's back. What's going to happen to everyone? Can Chris and Ellie figure out how to save the whole school? The movie ends on this intense cliffhanger.